Let's get scratching.
Hold on, I understand that my videos usually contain sarcasm and jokes that Americans struggle to understand, but that is just for entertainment purposes. And no doubt my poorly timed jokes will be included in this very video. In the off chance that someone on the Overwatch team watches this video, I want them to know that behind the jokes is pure intent and real advice for the hero that started my Overwatch journey nearly 7 years ago. Have you noticed Blizzard's pattern? They absolutely hate numbers. Well, they actually love numbers, they just hate when you and I talk about them. And I can't really blame them. It must be hard to listen to so many people give out their opinions on hero balance when they literally look at the numbers every single day. With that in mind, how the f do I talk about a hero who objectively is the king of numbers? Well, I have a plan. I'ma target Blizzard's one and only weak point. Cole Cassidy is obsolete. Ooh, fucking stings, don't it, Blizzard? There are 41 heroes in this game, and Cassidy is the only one without a use. He in no way, shape, or form has a reason to be picked. And I understand some people will come up with all types of rebuttals to that statement. Oh, Cassidy, he has a use. He's the best at close and medium range encounters with amazing backline protection capabilities. Now, there is only one single wrong word with that statement, and Blizzard knows what that one wrong word is. Because they have the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. There isn't many people as of now, but Blizzard can see a change in the playing field. Blizzard can see that slowly but surely, people are realizing that Cassidy isn't the best in his field, and that they only thought he was because he's a comfortable hero pick, a hero that you are used to playing. But some people like myself and you can see that when the time comes, the rest of the player base will see what hero completely overshadows Cassidy. But it doesn't matter the amount of times you nerf this hero in many little ways, we know that people will realize that learning this hero will only yield better results than Cassidy ever could. Okay, so this is a topic that does deserve its own video, but simply put, Overwatch is a game that is built on stereotypes and archetypes. Commander Jack Morrison is the lone wolf American soldier vigilante guy stereotype. That's his character. His gameplay archetype is the simple run and shoot guy. Hanzo is the traditional Japanese samurai who struggles eternally with honoring his clan and coming to terms with his actions. That's his character's stereotype. And his gameplay archetype is the guy with a bow and arrow in the world of guns and other stuff. And Overwatch goes above and beyond because they apply the concept to all the abilities as well, except for Cassidy. Sure, he's the cool, calm, charismatic gunslinger stereotype with the highly accurate, high-damage pistol archetype, but besides his ult, his abilities never really matched his character's stereotype. Like, you maybe kinda can say he rolls like a cowboy kinda has done at some point, but since his inception, everyone always thought that the flashbang was more than a strange choice for a simple cowboy. Well, the reason why most don't understand why he had a stun flashbang is because they had it backwards. Usually the hero's abilities line up with the stereotype, but Cassidy is unique because the flashbang lines up with his archetype. If they wanted him to have an ability that lined up with his stereotype, he would have had a lasso, or a coin, or a cigar, or a flask of whiskey. Instead, they gave him a flashbang that lines up with his archetype. Cassidy has the archetype of rewarding great aim, but the flashbang basically says, what if the aim guy didn't have to aim as much sometimes? And that's why this seemingly uncharacteristic ability was given to the cowboy. But the flashbang had an underlying problem, and it wasn't the CC aspect. It was the fact that the flashbang simply makes it easier to kill an enemy, which was justifiable when Overwatch first came out and people literally couldn't comprehend the movement of some of these characters. Getting hit with flashbang used to feel okay because the Tracer or the Genji could understand how difficult it can be trying to follow what's going on. It was a way to level out the, at the time, incomprehensible movement of this new game called Overwatch. But as players got better, they could track, predict, and understand the movement of these fast heroes. And that turned flashbang from an equalizer into an advantage. That was the flashbang's unique problem. It was also unfortunately a victim of being an ability adding to the large pool of CC. I brought this up because of a recent change to Cassidy. I'd like to direct your attention to a quote in this video. Cassidy isn't the best in his field, and that they only thought he was because he's a comfortable hero pick. A hero that you're used to. Before this recent change to Cassidy's flashbang, this video was originally going to be called The Only Hero to Suffer from Success. It was going to be a look into how Cassidy is realistically, on paper, a horrible hero whose success comes from the players who have been comfortable with him and not his potential. I was going to go over the numbers and shit, but it kinda sucked, so I put it on the back burner until I could figure out a way to make it more interesting. But then this patch came out and it proved my point. My point from 2 years ago. The magnetic grenade was an attempt to remove CC while keeping Cassidy's lethality. But for the person playing Cassidy, it felt inconsistent with its attach rate and all-around use. And if it did kill the enemy, it would feel unfair and oppressive. So many iterations and number tweaks later, we arrive to the current patch. Hinder duration reduced from 1.2 to 0.9 seconds, with the explosion damage increased from 45 to 75. After 1 year of consistent changes to this ability, we have ended up with an ability that basically has no utility but simply does high damage. Let's read the developer comment for this change. We're reducing how impactful the hinder effect is by lowering its duration, as this crowd control can be a significant source of frustration for players. Since now there is less time to follow up with these shots from the weapon while the opponent is hindered, we're increasing the explosion damage of flashbang. I'm being 100% honest here. At this rate, we're only 1 or 2 updates away from completing a loop. At this rate, we're going back to Cassidy's Overwatch 2 beta grenade. It would be easy to mock Blizzard for this. Words like incompetent would be thrown around, but I see this differently. We gotta remember that this is their job. They're supposed to make changes, fail, try again, listen to feedback, fail, and try again. When I noticed this loop occurring, I didn't think less of Blizzard. I simply saw proof that the developers have tried literally everything to make this ability work. Proof that they're doing their job. This is a moment of truth. A rational person can see that you have done the first half of your job thoroughly, but the other half of your job is to pull the trigger and realize you have done all you could for this ability. You spent a year basically testing that no matter what it looks like, the magnetic, the hinder, the flashbang does not work in this game. Complete your job, Blizzard. There is an extremely fine line that you must walk. At this point, after all the testing, you decide to continue the loop by updating the flashbang again, it will prove incompetence. If you completely remove this ability and replace it with something else after years of testing, it will prove competence. It will prove you have done your job to test an ability in every shape and form to recognize it didn't work, but you're competent enough to pull the trigger and remove it. Cassidy is the worst DPS in Overwatch 2 because he statistically has no purpose. Cassidy is the worst DPS in Overwatch 2 because his flashbang doesn't match his character's stereotype and is not fun to use.